Hello and welcome back to Mind of Success. I'm your host, Moni Millares, a Mexican British living in Asia. I work in fintech and build digital banks from scratch. In my years in the industry, I've realized most of us are in a vulnerable financial position. However, building a business can be a catalyst for change. So I created this podcast. It's about business stories we do not talk about. I chat with entrepreneurs, CEOs, and experts about their journeys, struggles, and lessons to extract gems of wisdom and practical tools so that we can thrive and create the impact we want. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we are going to talk about entrepreneurship, beauty, sustainability. It's a fascinating woman that we've got today in the show. So, Gaelle, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you very much for having me, Monica. Hi, everyone.
Hello. So before we go into the show, let me introduce Gaelle properly. So her name is Gaëlle Chatelard. She is the founder of ETHOSA. And like many of us, she used to work in her full-time corporate career. And eventually she had a side project, and the side project started moving along. She continued corporate career. And then at some point she jumped into full entrepreneurship. And I find that journey fascinating because it takes a lot, to juggle both corporate and side hustle, and it takes a lot to build a successful business. So it will be an amazing episode. I'm really looking forward to chatting and learning from you, Gaelle.
Really excited to be here, Monica.
So let's get started with whenever we start a business, it's because there is either we have a passion or there's a problem that we need to solve. There's a need that customers have. In your case, like you've been working for years in the beauty and personal care industry across different departments. So you really understood the industry basically. And then one of the challenges that we have today in society is sustainability and the environment. And beauty products, they do have impact in the environment. And some of the major ingredients is water. So now you created a full brand of personal care products that are water-free products, and therefore it has major impact in the environment in a positive way. So can you talk to us about how you came up with the idea and why was it important for you to build this company?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, I used to work in the beauty and personal care industry for a couple of years. And this is really when I got to discover the ugly truth of the industry and the actual impact that it has on the planet, but also on our health, because obviously a lot of the beauty and personal care products that we apply on our skins every day contain a lot of chemicals. So initially, I really wanted to try to come up with a better solution for our planet and our health. And I think what really inspired the brand as well is my background. So I'm originally from France. I grew up in the French Alps. So I have a really, really strong connection to nature because obviously, I spent my childhood like building tree houses and like spending so much time outdoors and like seeing this industry. Obviously, there are other industries that are damaging our planet, but I was very close to the beauty and personal care industry and seeing it like really impacting in such a negative way our planet and our health. That really inspired me and brought me to create ETHOSA. So as you said, ETHOSA is a waterless personal care brand. So what we do is removing water from the manufacturing process, and we are creating and developing powdered formulas. So obviously one of the big benefits is that the product is very light. So we are able to reduce the CO2 emissions by 90%. During
90%. 90%.
Yes,
that is like huge.
Exactly. And it's usually the way of water in the formula, right? Because most beauty personal care products contain on average between 65 to 95% of water. And shower gels, which is our first product, usually contains 95% water. So it's quite a huge amount. So yeah, I think what we're looking to do with ETHOSA is really combat different and address different challenges that we're seeing. So obviously plastic waste with our refillable container, which is made of aluminum. We are actually helping people to save 1.2 kilos of bathroom plastic per year when they are switching to our product, which is quite great. We are not transporting any water or any chemicals because our formulas are also plant-based, fully natural. We are only using the very minimum ingredients possible that have the highest potency possible to have very efficient products, but that are supernatural. And I think also we came up with this powdered formula, and we wanted to move away a little bit from solid beauty, which is also quite popular and which is like a more sustainable alternative with soap bars. But we find that most of the times the formulas are quite alkaline, meaning that they are quite aggressive to the skin. And like using the powder and really being able to handpick every single plant-based ingredients, we made sure to have formulas that are pH balanced and that are actually doing good to the skin and not harming it. So yeah, that's a little bit of background about ETHOSA and where it all comes from.
Yes. Before we go into more detail, like you're describing the perfect product for me, because I'm the type of person that it's like, no, I don't want to use that because it has plastic, or no, I don't want to use that because it has chemicals. Oh, I rather use the thing that you come up at home, like you mix this and the other with natural ingredients, and you're trying to like not put all these chemicals in your body. So it's like, it is, but many times I'm like, well, maybe I'm just harming my body with these experiments that I'm trying to do at home. But I love that it's like, hey, it's a proper kind of like cosmetic, personal care, beauty product that it's designed for people like you and I, basically, that it's like
absolutely
sustainable and health conscious. And I love that.
Yeah. And also just touching upon the DIY experience that you mentioned. So when our product comes to your home, it comes in a starter kit with a lifetime refillable bottle, which I mentioned earlier, made of aluminum. And then you also get to personalize and tailor your shower gel, because the product comes into 3 different sachets. So you have one, which is the shower powder, only made of plant-based ingredients. And then you have a sachet, which is our blend of natural essential oils, bringing the invigorating scent to the shower gel, and the preservative. And basically, you can also inform the product that you want to have, because you can decide to add the fragrance or not, the preservative or not. So let's say we were speaking about fully natural product. If you don't want to add the preservative, you don't have to. The only thing that you need to take into account is that as soon as you add water to your shower powder, you add bacteria, because water carries a lot of bacteria. Therefore, the shelf life of your shower gel would be reduced to 2 weeks instead of 6 months. But technically, you can have like the most natural shower gel you've dreamed of by just like using the plant-based shower powder and adding water to it.
That is absolutely amazing. So just to be clear, this is not Gaelle makes soaps in her backyard and that's it. It's you've grown like a proper full-on company out of this. What I'm very interested about learning is your mindset. I'm sure, I don't have statistics, but I'm 100% sure there's tons of women in the workplace right now with our fancy corporate jobs that we have a side job. And then a side project. And then we need a certain specific mindset to basically make the leap of faith to say, hey, A, I'm going to continue doing both. And then B, at some point, I'm going to jump from from work to fully dedicated to my side project. What was going on in your mind when you were thinking about this?
Yeah, that's a really great question, actually. So just to go back a little bit in time, I've always been that type of person who at some point wants to run their own business or have their own project, their own baby. So it's been growing with me over the last couple of years. And to be completely transparent, I had a couple of business ideas prior to ETHOSA, where I started working on a business plan and starting different things. But I ended up just like not following up because I did not feel it in my guts that it was the right project, the right idea to follow, which happened with ETHOSA actually. So when I first had the idea and started like brainstorming and putting my ideas on the paper, I could really visualize it. And I had such a strong feeling about it and such a strong passion as well. As I mentioned earlier, like seeing the impact that the industry has on our planet and on our health, it was really dear to me. I wanted to act and do something or try to do something. So the passion was really like a driving force behind ETHOSA. And I knew when I had the ideas that I was going to pursue it, that I wanted to go ahead with it, whatever happens.
Interesting. So it's basically you followed your gut. You followed your intuition.
I would really say so. Yeah.
Yeah. Which that is like super important because sometimes we're like, it stops us from doing stuff, or it kind of says like, hey, just keep going. You're going the right, it feels right.
Absolutely.
It just feels right.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think at some point also when in life you're convinced about something and you want to do something. And as I said, it was really important for me to start my own business at some point. I just thought that this idea was, the right one to follow. And I really wanted to go ahead with it. I was like, this is time. It's happening now.
Yeah, it's now. It's now or never. I know. It's like, I have the same feeling with the podcast. It's like, I've tried many, many things before, but this one, it's just like, I have to do it and I have to continue. It's like,
exactly.
It just feels good. And that's important to talk about it because like when it feels good, just like follow the good feelings. Oh, that's what I always say. Just like follow whatever feels good. And then you'll just follow step by step.
Exactly. Yeah.
At the same time, it's not all rosy and beautiful. So there's many challenges that come with yes, there's many challenges that come with building a business. What are the key challenges that you think you've had to overcome in your journey?
Yeah, so quite a few challenges, and they keep coming up. But yeah, I would say in the early stage of the journey, so when ETHOSA was just like a side hustle, and when I started like looking for partners that would be willing to support us on this journey, it was a tough moment. First of all, because it's a very disruptive and niche concept, and when I started working to it about 2 years ago, a lot of like manufacturers and laboratories have never heard of like this type of formula or this type of ideas, or they've never developed it, so they did not even know where to start. So first of all, finding the right partners that would be ready to support the idea, to be bought onto the idea and to say, okay, I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to give it a try. We're going to make this happen and develop this formula, make it work. It was quite a challenge. But we ended up finding an amazing partner. So I'm really grateful for all the work that they've done so far and the partnerships that we've been building. But I think on top of that, so ETHOSA was built on very strong ethics. So sustainability is at the core of everything we do. And we have very, very high standards when it comes to being sustainable in the ingredients that we're using, our packaging, everything that we do. And while the beauty personal care industry overall is shifting towards more sustainable practices, it's still in a way early days. So also trying to convince like the bigger corporations to make a move and to actually go the extra mile into finding the right material or the right ingredients. it was a real battle. It was a real battle, and one of the biggest challenges. But yeah, we made it. We developed our first product. So
how did you do it? How did you convince the suppliers to help you out in this project?
I think I am really, really passionate about ETHOSA and about the whole idea and where I want to take the brand, and really establishing also ourselves as a voice of authority in the industry. So I think the message and the way I'm transmitting my passion was quite inspiring to these people. And they just said, okay, we're going to go ahead. We're going to do it with you. We're going to make it happen. And today, yeah, they're super proud, and we're continuing working with some of them. But I think really the passion, yeah, and the whole idea and wanted to change things and revolutionizing things. Yeah.
I love that. I love that because it's like the energy. And what's coming to my mind, it's like many people, let's say if you are under 30, that I'm not under 30, but it's like young people that are like, hey, I'm super young. You know, it's like I'm young, and then they have like limiting beliefs or anxiety because they are young. But it's like, no, that energy and passion many times is like extremely powerful to convince people. You don't need to be
Absolutely.
the superhero that knows everything about the industry.
No. I think it's really, if you have like a clear idea of what you want to do, what you want to achieve, and the way you transport the message, the way you communicate about it. And as you said, yeah, just the energy, the passion, the feeling of wanting to make a positive impact is really inspiring to others.
Yes, it is. I think it is. And that's why people come on board, because of the mission, basically. I'm a very mission-driven, purpose-driven.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I'm on board. What has changed? Because, of course, you dropped corporate, then side project became like a full-time project. It's a full business. And now you went from managing a side project to managing a business. What has changed in your mindset and your personality, way of thinking?
So a lot has changed because it's quite a different thing to have like a side hustle, to work on it in the evenings, during the weekends, at your own pace, and just also doing things that are super creative and super nice, because like putting the brand together, like I can quickly show you. I have our shower powder here and our bottles. So working on all the designs and so on. Also working on the stories, the development of the product to get it right. It was all like very like the creative phase of things, which was super exciting. But then obviously when you leave your full-time job and start like really running a business, it's very different, because there are so many things to consider, to take into account. And also when you started, so we're two being full-time into ETHOSA, myself and my co-founder Ollie. But we take care of more or less everything. I mean, we're supported by people around us. Of course, we are giving some tasks away, but overall, at the end of the day, we're the people responsible and that can be held accountable. So we need to manage everything, and it's a lot like jumping from A to Z, like complete different topics, and you just need to be really on top of everything, because if you don't do things, they're not going to get done and you're not going to go anywhere. So it's a lot to handle. And obviously, like being a young business and just like establishing like the foundations as well, there are lots of challenges. So there are obviously like a lot of positives, but on a daily basis, we also have a lot of challenges. So you also, I think, need to find a way to keep the same energy, and especially the one that, you know, I had in the very beginning. Keep like being inspiring and communicating this passion, not being absorbed by like the challenges that you can face on a daily basis. And I think that's a real challenge in itself, because you need to appear very energetic and very happy, but you also have a lot of negative things in a way in your head that you need to deal with and that you need to tackle. So yeah, it's very different.
Yeah. You just raised a very good point about the negative things in your head. What are your biggest fears?
As I said earlier, it's like not being on top of everything, not managing everything and in like the best possible way. And I think this is also like a personality type of things, but I'm more of like a perfectionist. I like to try to be good at everything I do, or to do things in the best possible way. And I think as a founder and running a business, you kind of need to accept as well that not everything can be perfect, and you need to handle so many
let go.
things. Yeah, exactly. You need to learn to let go, and that's challenging.
Yeah. I find it so interesting. It's the first time that this analogy comes to my mind, but let's say I work in product, and many people in the industry says a product person, it's like a mini CEO. But
Yes.
as you describe the challenges, I'm like, well, that's exactly the same challenges that I have working in product. So actually, yes, for anyone who is considering kind of starting a company, getting into the career path of product is also a good way to start getting into it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's all, I guess, there is an element that it's building the brand, building the business, and then it's the running the business and growing the business. And the element that I find most challenging or tricky, especially in today's environment, is fundraising, because to grow, you need like funding. What has been your experience fundraising as a first-time founder? Because that's important.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. So it's also a challenging journey. So far we're still self-financed. However, we started fundraising and we already have some funds committed, which we are very, very happy about. Yeah, it's really great news. But yeah, it is not easy, and I think the climate of all has changed quite heavily as well in the last coming month. I mean, what's happening, what you read in the press, like the war, the COVID, like all the impact that these different events have on the world, it makes the investment climate a little bit more difficult, to be fair. So. And I think that's probably a challenge that most founders find. You would tend to like set up a timeline and say, okay, by this date, I'm going to have like my round closed. Everything is going to go perfectly. And we are convinced that we are allowing enough time to do it. But at the end, and especially because you have all these things happening that have an influence on the investing climate, it takes longer than what you anticipate. And obviously, the longer it takes, again, like you need to keep your motivation up. You need to keep your perseverance up, because you need to keep reaching out to people and engage with them and sell them your idea and your business. So I think, yeah, it is a very interesting journey as well, to get to speak to different type of investors and to learn what they're expecting, and also like adapting the way you address to them depending on the profile and so on. It's definitely like a super interesting and insightful experience, but it also comes with challenges. Yeah.
How about I guess like I haven't done this myself. How did you get started in fundraising? What was your thinking process? And it's like, yeah, it's time to get money from somebody else. And then how did you find these either angel investors or seed, pre-seed? How did you go about it?
Yeah. So first, we are, as I said, self-financed. And then when we started the actual fundraising process, we identified investors, different type of investors, business angels, funds, early stage VCs as well, because obviously we were back then still pre-revenue. We've not launched the product just yet. So very early stage investors, and more into the sustainability, consumer goods, impact spaces, just like finding people with profiles that are going to connect and identify with our mission and be inspired by what we're doing. I think the profile and the interest of investors of all is like one of the key things to look at, because if I'm going to somebody who is only used to investing in fintech, for example, I mean, I'm pretty sure that the answer is going to be negative if I get an answer at all. Yeah. So I think for us, it was really focusing on like early stage investors, because as I said, when we started the process, we were still pre-revenue. So we needed to find people that are buying into the idea and that want to come on board early to support the growth of the business.
Yeah. How did you prepare to start having those conversations?
So first we worked on our pitch deck, which we actually continuously improve and tweak as we go and as we grow. That was the key starting point to map everything out on a piece of paper. And then I think the first thing that we did was a pitch night with other startups. It was still, I think this one was still virtual, but it was quite a good experience because obviously a bit of like practice as well. You get to present, and obviously we're two to present. So also like dividing up the parts of the pitch. And yeah, to be fair, it's not like we really prepared in advance every single word that we were going to say or like rehearsed or so, but it's just, getting to know what each person is going to speak about. And then just like over time as well, you get a lot more confident, and you start to introduce new ways as well of presenting things.
Awesome. You do sound like an experienced founder now. Like, yes, it is, because it is very different to just have a side project while you're working versus now that it's like it properly grew into a company and you're fundraising.
Absolutely.
It's like,
yes,
yeah, it is like cool. That is super cool.
Yeah, next step. Yeah.
Yes, it's like next level. Good for you. What advice could you give any women building their side project that they want to turn it into a full-on business?
That's a very, very good question as well. I think from my own experience, you kind of need to stay realistic, because, and again, I take my example, but even if like you have a really great product idea and you manage to bring it to life, you manage to create it and everybody is super excited about it and you get amazing feedback, it's very positive, but it takes a lot more to actually like build a successful business out of it and really get it off the ground. It's not just like the product, there's a lot more after that. And I think it's really like you really need to be tough, because it is a challenging journey. As I said earlier, there are lots of different things that you need to handle at the same time, lots of challenges, and you kind of need to fight for everything at every stage of the journey as well. So I think it's like, be realistic. It's not because you have like a great idea that it's going to immediately be super successful and you're going to be a billionaire tomorrow. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And also be ready to tackle challenging situations that you probably would not have been used to in your day-to-day job.
I love that, because it's you talk the real, like the real life.
Yes.
Advice and experience. It's like, it will be tough. You need to be ready to tackle challenges. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. We're very big on transparency at ETHOSA. We actually have one of our mottos is while we're not 100% perfect, we're always 100% transparent. So we're really trying to communicate as much as we can and be transparent.
Oh, that's amazing. I love transparency too. It's like if something triggers me in life, not just work, like life, it's when it's like that lack of transparency. I'm like, it's like transparency is important.
Yeah, no, and especially, I mean, with what we're doing in the industry, there's a lot of greenwashing, lots of like fake claims out there, and greenwashing overall. So we need to be transparent. We need to share information and tell people what it really is about. And as I said, even if it's not fully perfect, we need to explain how it is, why it is like this, and how we're looking to improve things. But yeah, really
I like
explaining, sharing.
Yes, very good. Where can we find you? Where can we buy the products? Where can we find you in social media? Like the full thing.
So we are currently sold in 3 markets in Europe through our D2C website. So ethosa.co.uk, ethosa.fr for France, and ethosa.de for Germany. We will shortly be launching on Amazon as well. So you will be able to find us there. We are also selling on Etsy at the moment, which is quite well known globally, I believe. And I would say, I mean, if you want to stay up to date and to learn about everything that we're doing, all our offers, new product launches, the best way to do that is to subscribe to our newsletter on our site. And you can also get 25% off your first order when you actually subscribe to our newsletter.
Amazing. Cool. Yay. Just another bonus question. How did you expand from one market to multiple markets?
So as I said earlier, I'm originally from France, and my partner, co-founder, is originally from Germany. And we identified this market, and we're based in London in the UK. Yeah. So these are the three markets. And we obviously know a lot about these different markets, and we know that there is a huge potential for sustainable beauty, personal care, and especially our product as well. So that's why we decided to launch in these 3 markets in the first place. Now, at the moment, we're mostly focusing on the UK market. So obviously our other sites are live, but the real focus is on the UK market, and we will look at expanding further also to other European markets in the coming years.
Amazing. Yes, because that is relevant, because like everyone needs this product, right? It's not like geography specific. It's like worldwide.
Yeah, it's the future of personal care.
I love that. That's the future of personal care. We should have started with that. The future of personal care. Well, Gaelle, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in the show. Thank you very much. And ladies, hope you enjoyed the episode. Feel free to reach out to Gaelle or to myself if any questions on either the product or her journey or just anything in life.
So, absolutely. My pleasure, Monica. It's been really great. And I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah. See you. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.